Time. Hey guys, it's Tech here today in a video on how to install the Kraken x31. This also works for the x41 and the x61. In the corner there's a video on how to remove thermal paste from your CPU. That's also helpful, and you gotta do that before you install the CPU cooler. So, jumping right in, what we're gonna do is we're gonna have to set up the Kraken x31 first, or x41 or x61. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna slide on the appropriate 4 thingy. I don't really know what it's called, and then you're gonna snap on the little outer ring. So there's basically an inner thing, an inner part, and that has 4 little things poking out, which you use to screw down to the motherboard, and then you gotta snap on the top, which secures it in place. This is changeable if you upgrade to Intel or to AMD, depending on your situation. So just make sure it's snapped on tight, because you don't want to mess this part up. That'll really mess you up later, and you're gonna have to do a lot of extra steps to mess this up. Sorry about that camera thing right there. It's kind of bad. So that little gray part is the thermal paste. You don't want to mess that up. So I'd recommend putting it back in the plastic container it came back into, and making sure nothing touches anything, or make sure, basically like that. And you see those little 4 things. Basically, there's 4 screws that come with it. And you're going to want to take the 4 screws, screw them into your motherboard, as you'll see in the next shot, but I didn't manage to get this on tape, unfortunately. Anyway, so that's the whole setup, and just make sure that the 4 little ends that are popping out are where you want them, because you can't adjust that later unless you want to remove the CPU thermal paste and stuff. It's just better do it in the beginning. Like, you can make it so that the tubing points out different ends and stuff like that. Anyway, so what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to screw in the fan in the CPU 120mm, I forget what it's called exactly, but the big block, basically. Not the CPU block, but the cooling block, that's what it's called, yeah. So you're going to want to secure the cooling block to the case, and you're going to want to do we did a pull configuration, and then we later, once we installed the CPU block, we then put a push-pull configuration, but pull is enough, and honestly, and you just want to screw it in through whatever case you're using, and this is 120mm, by the way, so you could put it in a 140mm slot. Most likely there's usually like an extra 4 holes for 140, but in this particular case, the Roswell something or the other, I'll put it in the description, I don't really remember off the top of my head, but in this case, the rear only has 120mm, it has 140 on the top, but we thought it'd be best to just put it in the back, just makes more sense. And then after this, you're going to want to put the CPU block on. As you can see, those little black things that are protruding from the motherboard on top of the orange, those are the 4 screws we were talking about earlier. And sorry for the shaky camera, it gets better in a second. Yes, and see, the thermal paste is not disturbed in any way. It's a perfect circle, or at least close to perfect. So now what you're going to want to do is wipe off the CPU. You don't really have to do this extra precautionary step taken by Sidekick A. Anyway, make sure that nothing's in the way when you are doing this, because you don't want to mess up this the thermal paste that's pre-applied onto the Kraken x31 CPU block. And then once you put it in through the screws, through the holes on the bracket, I suppose it's called, make sure that it's staying down and it's not like all jiggly and stuff, because you might have done it wrong. And make sure it's down on all 4. And there's multiple ways to tighten it, but the way we did it is cross configuration. So once you get these 4 on, so the thing with cross configuration is basically what you're going to do is you're going to want to go like upper left, lower right, upper right, lower left kind of thing. So you're going to want to do cross, the ones that are crossed, not next to each other, and apparently this makes the CPU thermal paste more even, the distribution, so it's not all like clumped up in one place and it goes over the whole CPU. This is how we did it. You don't have to do it like this. It doesn't really matter much, I don't think. But just precautionary measure. Make sure it's all tight and it's not like loose. Then take off the sticker, and then plug in the CPU fan header into the motherboard. Then connect the CPU fan. The CPU fan like connector that comes with the Kraken x31. It has two like fan slots, so basically you can put in your push-pull configuration fan headers into there. And then this is we're installing a second fan, so make sure you put on the little washer onto the screw before you do it, so it becomes tight rather than loose, because you don't want a loose fan in your system. And then plug it into the Kraken x31 adapter, fan adapter. That's pretty much it. Now you're gonna probably want to take out that sticker if you haven't already. Apparently somebody's actually caught on fire when they didn't do that. Next, you're gonna want to put in the USB portion of the Kraken x31. There's a USB wire. You're gonna have to put that in for better heat control and stuff. Now you're pretty much done. We just put the system back together, and that's about it. So thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, favorite. I'll see you next video. Bruh.